In the next 10 years, over 1 billion Asian consumers will move from lower to middle class. That means over 1 billion more people with more money to spend on things like, well, more expensive imported food. With that in mind, food producers in New Zealand are working out how this country could benefit from a burgeoning Asian middle class. The topic's being chewed over, at the High Value Nutrition Conference in Auckland. Among the people there is Dr. Stefan Hajkowicz, who is the Brisbane-based author of Global Megatrend. I asked him what megatrend they're looking at.
The High Value Nutrition Conference is getting together a lot of experts, mostly from New Zealand, but also from around the world, to start to look at how New Zealand can really tap into what is a massive market of the new wealthy Asian consumer that wants a food product that is healthy, that is nutritious, that is safe, delivers on provenance, where did it come from. That market used to not exist, but it's growing now, and it's going to be massive by 2025.
Can you talk about the rate it's growing at?
So by 2025, roughly 1.02 billion Asians will cross an income threshold from being poor to middle income class, and plenty of movement up above that. And
over a billion between now and 2025.
Yeah, over a billion is a rough estimate.
And so one of the expressions of their new income is to shop for food in different ways.
That's right. We're seeing, to begin with, at lower levels of income growth, they increase daily calorie consumption, but then at higher levels of income growth, they diversify their diet, and they do start to become much more selective about what they eat. So that's the opportunity here, is not just to sort of shovel out heaps of food into export markets, but high quality food that fetches a price premium. And that's why the move makes a lot of sense. This is a new wealthy consumer. They care about food safety is huge, health and nutrition benefits. So we're only sort of still waking up to how much what we eat influences health and well-being and longevity. But then provenance too. Where did my food come from?
And has New Zealand got a good story in terms of how Asia views us, if they
how
view
you're
us
perceived
at all?
at the moment? Definitely. I mean, the success of Fonterra and dairy products out of New Zealand tell that story really strongly. Following the melamine milk crisis in China of 2008, where milk products became contaminated, the New Zealand product will fetch a premium on the shelves, a price premium, because it's perceived rightly as being a safer product. And that lasted for quite some time.
Okay.
Yep.
The discussions we're having around high nitrate levels in our water, for
Yes.
example, and a greater move towards organics, which we're beginning to see in New Zealand farming.
Yes.
Is that important in Asia?
Look, I think it will be now. Our own research on Asian markets has shown that the organic consumer in China is still very small, and for South Korea, Taiwan, pretty similar too. So they're not huge markets yet, but they're showing large percentage year-on-year growth rates. So they're growing quite quickly, and I don't think we can discount it as we look into the future, that they actually care about whether or not the food they ate was grown in a sustainable way. But I mean, there's also, New Zealand is a beautiful place and has huge tourism value as well. The aim is to ensure that neither one of these opportunities extinguishes the other. So it's a joint thing that has to be delivered on, and the same challenge we've got in Australia. Australian agriculture is in a similar position. You know, we want to respond to these massive markets in Asia, but there is a story of environmental impact around agriculture.
And boy, that's a balancing act. All of it's a balancing
Absolutely.
act. Because if you have 1 billion new consumers who aren't currently buying our food, who will be within actually the not too distant future at all, then you want to get quantity up to Asia. But the quality story is so important.
I think so. Quality story is highly important, and provenance. When you eat something, you want to know where it came from and how it got to you, because it's a pretty personal thing, putting it in your mouth, chewing it and swallowing it, right? This is something that we know the consumer cares a lot more than compared to, I don't know, when you put your petrol in the Bowser at the pump at the petrol station, you don't really think too much or care too much, as opposed to food is a different buying experience. You very much want to know. And I think, you know, what to me is quite exciting is digital technologies that are growing really fast as well, allow the farmer in New Zealand to close the gap and get personal with the supermarket consumer in Shanghai, so that they can, they swipe their iPhone over the tomatoes or the kiwi fruit that's being purchased there. They can see a story of where it came from, what the landscape looked like. But you've also got to have science and evidence to back it up. So that's the other part of what the HVN conference, the High Value Nutrition Conference, is doing. Is it's getting all the scientists together about the prove it to me factor. Prove it to me that NZ food is better. So if the two comes together, of marketplace perception with science and evidence, bang, that's a big score in the marketplace.